welcome to the big fight, where tonight we're going to discuss statues of all sorts of shapes and forms, but in particular statues of Mayawati and statues of elephants, which are creating a massive political row because they are coming up all across Uttar Pradesh, and that's leading to petitions. Why are these statues coming up? Are public funds being misused for these, or are they not? While others are saying, why do you make so much fuss about Mayawati statues and you don't make a fuss about other people's statues, which are also coming up all across the country? So that's what we're going to be debating this particular day on the big fight. So to debate this, let me welcome into the studio. We have some fantastic voices to tell us what they think about this. Let me start by welcoming Mr. Ravi Kant, who's a Supreme Court lawyer who filed the petition against Mayawati and who says that the public funds are being misused when it comes to these statues. Also joining us via satellite, Harish Salve, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court of India, who is representing the Uttar Pradesh government in this case. So the two lawyers who are fighting this case, joining us to tell us what they think about it. Also joining us, somebody with extremely strong views on the subject, Sohail Seth. Sohail, thank you so much for being with us. I'm not going to introduce you any further. Those who watch the big fight have seen you here often enough. It also gives us great pleasure to welcome back onto the big fight Professor Kancha Alaya, who's a writer, a prominent writer, and of course chairman of the Political Science Department at the Osmania University. Thank you so much, Professor, for joining us. Sitting next to him, Manish Tiwari, Lok Sabha MP, spokesperson of the Congress Party. We're going to be discussing a lot of the other some of the other statues also which are coming up across the country, which some of us have views on as well. And last but by no means least, Anup Kumar, who's a blogger with Insight Youth Voice blog. It's a Dalit magazine, very prominent on the internet as well. And you think that this uproar that we're hearing over the Mayawati statues is somewhat misplaced. We also have a large audience, including how many of you are actually living in places where the statues are coming up? Raise your hands. Okay. How many of you like the statues? Raise your hands. Okay. One person likes the statues. We'll be asking you why. Ravikant, why have you filed this petition? What's wrong with Mayawati putting up statues?
See, this is arbitrary use of power for the glorification of one single person. Even if you see the statues where they have been built, Dalit leaders' statues have been built in a corner. And for Mayawati statue, a big central plaza, it's huge amount of public money which is being wasted for the glorification of one single individual, and that also the chief minister of the state. She has a moral duty to use the funds for the public, but she is using it for her self-glorification. This is completely arbitrary use of power, and this is violative of Article 14 of the Constitution of India.
Okay, Harish Salve, she's using public funds for her personal glorification. How would you respond to that?
I think we need to raise this debate beyond Mayawati and beyond Noida. And it's a good time to revisit certain fundamentals. And forget about Article 14 and all that. We'll sort all that out in Supreme Court. But a more fundamental is, in 1950, we formed ourselves into a republic. Are we really a republic, or are we still psychologically a band of feudals and serfs? And why do people think it necessary to build statues? And why do we people react in this fashion to politicians who build statues, in the sense that why is it that we are still subservient to our politicians? And it is the message from the Indian people, which obviously these political leaders get, and then that is why they indulge in this kind of activity.
Harish, I agree with every word you said, but you are representing... Harish, hang on. You are defending the use of this money to build those statues. Now, while I agree with you that yes, we shouldn't be subservient to politicians and the rest of it, what does that have to do with the case at hand? Why is she misusing public money to build statues of herself? I think that's the point.
Vikram, the court is not the panacea for all evils. Legality or otherwise of the statues is a very small issue. In fact, unfortunately, my concern over such petitions is, if the Supreme Court upholds the fact that there is nothing illegal in doing the statue, it gets sanctified by the court. The real issue is in public domain.
Mr. Salve, it doesn't get sanctified. At least the issue is raised. At least the India is discussing this today. The question is about discussions in the public domain.
Right.
This is not about anything. This is 5,000 crores of public money.
No, I appreciate the fact that this matter has been put on the table. And I think we need to debate this not... you'll be doing injustice to the enormity of the problem if you make it Mayawati-centric or if you make it Noida-centric.
Okay.
Politicians all over this country are wasting huge amounts of public money on glorifying themselves.
But I'm
Why
still
do we
trying to
sit by
point
and
out
let
that
it
you're
happen?
defending the misuse in this case. It's not good enough to say everyone else is doing it, so I can do it. You're defending this particular misuse, Mr. Salve, in court.
Vikram, defending a government, legality of a government action in court is very different from the propriety of the government action in public domain.
You know, Mr. Salve, you're coming very close to saying I'm defending it because I have to, and it's a legal thing to do, but actually I don't agree with it. That's what it sounds to me as if you're saying. Is that what you're saying?
Can I respond to that?
Yes, please.
It is sometimes necessary to defend these cases because let it not be said that the courts are taking over governance.
Okay, so you're defending it though you don't agree with it. I'm reading between the lines.
For the courts to decide.
But that's what it sounds like to me. I don't know, maybe...
I do not agree with the propriety of politicians glorifying themselves at public money in this way, be it Mayawati, be it any other politician of any other political party.
Okay, that's astonishingly honest, Mr. Salve, and I'm sure Mr. Ravi Kant is going to look forward to meeting you in court. Mr. Kancha Elaya. Let's talk about the propriety of it.
The question is, why is Mr. Ravikant filing a case against Mayawati putting a small statue somewhere here and there? But
it's not a particularly small statue.
How many statues she put? How much money is invested? What is the total amount is one dimension I want to know. The second one is, did he file a writ petition that when prime ministers are putting full-page photograph advertisements, chief ministers are putting thousands of crores of rupees photographs, advertisements in the newspapers, in the TV channels, which is also other form of statue.
So two wrong.
Now, why are the people spending on their thing?
Why didn't you file a
democracy?
petition on that?
Does he know that in the worldwide democracy do not agree this kind of expenditure at all?
See, when I am raising a question on one...
No, this is unjust.
No, my actions cannot be told.
My health is quite
No, what's
fine.
your thing? Sohail, you making a point?
I have a simple issue. This is a facetious argument up to a point, because two wrongs, A, don't make a right, B, just because there has been a debasement of politics is not the reason to endure further debasement. I think Harish's point is valid. If you're bringing it on the table, if you're putting it up for public debate, you question every ounce of misuse that's happened. And I completely agree. In fact, on your program once, we discussed this plethora of newspaper advertising. The point is, these people have very little to give back to the nation. So they want to create a legacy on our money. That's the desire. The desire is to create a legacy.
A small thing. See, the question is, we should know what democracy means. And world over, no democratic government will allow a president or prime minister to appear photographically with government money for advertisement.
Very true.
Why in India from Nehru to present? Prime ministers are putting their
I think that's a valid
photographs.
point. It's a valid point. I'm going to throw that to Manish as well. But first, why does, as Sohail said, does do two wrongs justify a right? Do you first of all
Where
agree?
do you start? Do you start only with Mayawati because she's a Dalit woman? She's being accused by all the media from morning to evening.
See, it's not a question of asking that why didn't you raise for this wrong and why didn't you raise for this wrong?
Look,
I feel
do you know how many
as
statues of Gandhi, Nehru,
no,
Indira
none.
Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi,
Mayawati said about Mayawati said about Mayawati said about
respect,
Vivekananda
Professor Kancha Elaya, Mayawati and Gandhi ji are two slightly different.
Look,
but Rajghat doesn't have any statue.
You're a professor of political science.
Rajghat
Comparing
doesn't have any
Mahatma Gandhi
statues.
to Mayawati is stretching the logic a bit far.
Look, Mayawati is a
And Mahatma
grandchild
Gandhi
of
didn't
Ambedkar.
erect a statue of himself in his own lifetime.
Look, Mrs.
Mayawati is erecting a statue of her in her own lifetime.
Let me respond.
Don't use facetious
language. See, if Gandhi is a great god of yours you are worshipping,
not of
and
mine.
you
He's
put,
the father of the
So
nation.
Mayawati is equivalent to Gandhi ji.
No, I'm not saying.
You just said that.
I'm not saying that. But
wow.
did Dalits in the country anywhere in any wada put Gandhi's statue? Whereas they put Ambedkar statue.
But I don't think you're equating Mayawati with Gandhiji. You can say Ambedkar statue.
Why are we debating about Mayawati statue now?
Let me respond.
Okay.
Rajghat.
Harish, I'm just going to come back to you in a minute.
Kisan Ghat.
Why did you not?
Rajghat, Kisan Ghat, Samta Sthal don't have such marble structures. You can go out and see there. They are just simple.
No. No,
they don't have any structure.
Let me get you. Anup hasn't said anything yet.
It's the respect.
First, let's finish in Mayawati, then we'll come to all the other statues.
I think we have to take a little different perspective because we have to see why Mayawati is hell-bent on creating memorials, Dalit statues. Is there some politics behind it? Or it's just a megalomaniac, she is a woman who is, hell-bent on spending public money? No. She has come up from a movement where the Dalit. I'm not speaking as a BSP activist. I'm not a BSP activist. I'm speaking as a young Dalit student who is very conscious of our history. This country has been guilty of exiling Dalit memories from this country. Will you believe that Ambedkar's photograph was put in 1990 in Central Parliament?
Very right.
You know why?
Anup, I agree with you.
Just hold on.
But can I just interrupt you for a second? I don't think I'm disagreeing with you. I think the point we're making is, and to take off from what Suhail was saying a little earlier, and what Professor Kancha Laya said, I agree with you. If there are statues of Ambedkar coming up, who was a giant in this country, they should come up. But should Mayawati be erecting statues of herself? She's not putting up Ambedkar statues, she's putting up Mayawati statues.
Looking at Ambedkar only as a statue. It's a part of a history, it's a part of a culture.
We all believe it. We all believe it.
But no one's doubting statues of Ambedkar, they are questioning statues of Mayawati.
Sir, if you remember in 1995 when Mayawati first became the chief minister, on the first day she started building the Ambedkar memorial. And the same hue and cry was raised by the media. She was ashamed like anything. And that memorial was too small as compared to now. That was only some 50 crores.
Listen. No, we don't have any problems with Ambedkar memorial.
Okay, hang on. Let's get Manish. Manish.
Let him complete.
After 20 years, the same people will say, yes, we were not disagreeing with Mayawati. This is a part of a history making.
Okay, fine.
Yep.
Now, Manish Tiwari case is, then I have to get Harish Shalve get another word in, and I think we're going to have to release him.
It's a case of completely misplaced priorities. Correct. Look at what the supplementary budget of the Uttar Pradesh government says. 7,559 crore budget, 3.7 crores only for the development of Purvanchal, 3.7 crores for the development of Bundelkhand, and 559 crores for statues. 250 crores for drought when you are facing possibly the leanest monsoon. I mean, it's a case of completely misplaced priorities. And the other thing, please, I didn't interrupt you. Let me finish. Okay. Please do not interrupt.
I am not. I
actually asked him to speak.
Oh, well, anyway, so then I'll keep quiet. Then I'll keep quiet. And the second point which I want to make is, after all, a statue is a method of paying respect or revering somebody. Okay. You do not start revering yourself. It is all right for Mayawati to erect statues of Ambedkar or anybody else she feels like, but you can't start erecting statues of yourself. This means you have no legacy to leave behind.
Anup, say something.
I said two things. One about the money. Now he's in the Congress government, he represents Congress. I will ask him, last 5 years there was a special component plan. 72,500 crore rupees which were allocated for the Dalits had not even spent by the Congress government and the central.
That still doesn't justify building statues out of
I'm talking about the money. Sorry.
And if you want to discuss the special component plan, Harish does not justify using money to build statues.
Thank you. Now, Harish Shalve, I'm afraid I'm going to have to give you a chance to say something. It's going to be very difficult to keep inserting you into this debate. It's very tough for you to get a word in edgewise. So why don't you give us your final thoughts on this?
Can I get in a word in
edgewise? Have to release you. Carry on, Harish.
I want to just put in a word sideways. The greatest statue of Ambedkar is the Constitution of India.
Absolutely.
Not some stupid piece of stone or marble you erect somewhere. Yes. And that statue is desecrated every day by all those who swear in the name of Dalit politics, by appointing criminals as ministers, and by supporting all kinds of unconstitutional causes. So this is, I'm sorry, when Ambedkar is spoken about, it gets my blood boiling as a constitutional lawyer. Ambedkar has created one of the finest constitutions of the world for us. He wrote this constitution which we have. So this is all a lot of unnecessary creation of a Dalit argument about Ambedkar.
Okay, Harish, thanks for that. Ravi Kant is going on making a note.
Ambedkar wanted this to be...
Yeah.
Ambedkar wanted this to be a republic, not where people would be subservient to political masters or you create statues for any political family.
Yeah. Ravi Kant is... Mr. Salve, I have to say, Ravi Kant is smiling very broadly. He thinks you're arguing on the wrong side of the fence. And he is taking notes as you speak on what he should say to you.
He made the distinction between legality and propriety right in the beginning. So therefore he'll argue the legality in court.
Okay, Harish, I know you have to leave us. Any final thoughts you want to leave us with on the big fight? Any final thoughts?
No, my only point is, I think, this is the biggest danger in all this. We all drift into Dalit politics, as is now being raised. So many thousand crores are allocated, so many thousand crores are not sent. I think Manish Tiwari had a valid point about priority of funds. The real issue today is, are we such a nation where the only way you can assert the empowerment of a group is by making statues? Or do we assert the empowerment of a class by setting standards of governance?
Okay, fine.
And that is really what we need to debate.
Okay, Harish Salve, thank you so much for having joined us with that perspective. And we do understand a somewhat tricky situation, which you obviously do seem to find yourself in. Thank you so much for having joined us.
I just want to make
I'm asking, Mr. Professor Kanchalaya, I want to throw this question to you. The point which he raised, that at the end of the day, the legacy, whether it is of Mayawati or of Ambedkar, does it live on in the work that they do? For Ambedkar, is his legacy the statues that may be coming up of Ambedkar, or the constitution he gave us? And for that matter, even for Mahatma Gandhi, is the legacy the statues that he has left behind, and actually there are not that many of them, or is it the fact he left us as a free nation and we still remember him and revere his memory?
No, can I just tell you, in my village in 1955, there was a statue installed. It is a corner of the country. It was installed by the Tahsildar. And we used to see Gandhi, semi-naked body and with glasses and all that, and call him Gandhi Tata, Gandhi Chacha, Tata. The point is that illiterate masses see the statue and go to the philosophical foundations. That is what illiteracy, the country remained. Okay. Now the question I am asking Manish Tiwari is he as a congressman ruling the country, today the country is reeling under drought. Can he tell us that the Prime Minister will ban all advertisements with photographs of ministers, Prime Minister, from the government funds and spend that money on drought, water and everything so that the states can down? Can he assure us from this platform?
Okay,
see,
Manish,
the advertisement is in various forms.
Manish,
if the flip side of the argument is that if that is what it takes to stop Mayawati from building her statues and misappropriating public funds, then we are prepared to do that.
Okay, Manish, hang on. Manish, but advertisements are just one thing. We've already seen a ruckus that happened in Mumbai. Every time a bridge comes up in this country, every time a road is built in this country, we've got to name it either Jawaharlal Nehru or Rajiv Gandhi or, something. Why is that? It's not that the Congress party doesn't do this. We just saw that Meter Rao when the Worli Bandra ceiling was built up. Why does it have to be named after Congress leaders either?
You need to draw a distinction between people's legacies, which others want to perpetuate, and those who want to name things after themselves because they are so insecure that they have no legacy to leave behind. So that's the difference.
Okay.
That is the difference.
So your point is it's okay if you're naming a bridge after Rajiv Gandhi or Indira Gandhi or Jawaharlal Nehru.
That's all right. They're not naming it after themselves. They're not naming it after
Manmohan Singh.
Yes, somebody else is doing it.
Would you agree with this? Would you agree with this distinction?
Let's be realistic. Everything that happens in this country qua politics is either out of corruption or out of sycophancy, by and large. When nomenclature of these places happens, there is a bit of both in them. The essential point that I make, and I completely agree with some of the points that you've made, the issue is you will in fact endanger the justifiable rise of the Dalit movement. And I say this with pride, the justifiable rise and recognition of the Dalit movement, if the media and the elite, who will continue to do what they want to do, if they use this as a means of whipping a Mayawati or anyone like her, Because the essential thing then transforms itself into tokenism rather than genuine work. To my mind, as an observer of the political situation, the more statues she builds, the more opportunities she gives for people to throw stones at. Because that is not what people are looking for. There's no food on the table. There's no electricity. There's no water. Give people those things. Don't open yourself to criticism. Don't open yourself
do you respond
to
that in a sense, the Dalit movement should be about more than just setting up parks and statues of elephants? Surely there should be more to that than the Dalit movement.
See, this is just a symbol. Symbol has its own meaning.
Sure.
Okay? And, you know, the BSP has come from a movement supported by the people who were, you know, from village, rural background. And the first thing they did when they asserted was to build a statue of Ambedkar in their village. And that was the symbol of assertion. Mayawati...
Go ahead. I'm not stopping you.
Mayawati has come from that...
You almost interrupted him.
Mayawati has come from that perspective. You can criticize about public money. I'm a citizen of this country. I'm also worried about that. Please don't take me wrong.
But why?
But the criticism...
so you are saying... I'm asking you a simple question. You are saying put up these symbols, put up these giant parks, it becomes a symbol of Dalit pride.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to ask you...
It's not about Dalit pride. It's not about Dalit pride.
What is it about?
You are taking it as a very caste issue. I think these statues and these memorials are more for the upper caste of this country, not for the Dalits.
What? Why do you want to
because
Ambedkar,
Phule, and the Dalit movement are not taught to these students in the class.
Why not? I would like to disagree with that. I would like to disagree with that. 1 second, sorry. I would like to...
till 1990, till the rise of BSP.
Sorry.
Hang on. So quickly then,
I just want to come in with a point of literature. You do not win friends and admirers by mocking people. So if you say these statues are meant to mock the upper class,
I'm not saying, sir.
Well, I just interpreted the basic English that you spoke.
It is educating upper caste that there is a part of a history.
How will you educate me through statues?
But again, why would anybody be unaware? Mayawati is not part of history, not yet anyway. Mayawati is very much part of the reality.
I think
that's why I'm saying even Ambedkar is different. Hang on,
he's a professor. He uses textbooks, not statues, to educate people.
In this country, am
I right, sir?
No, you are right.
Vikram, at the end of the day, Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar is going to be remembered for the work that he has done. And no statue, howsoever humongous it might be, can ever replace the living document that he has left behind.
I would use exactly... But Manish, I would use exactly the same argument about a Rajiv Gandhi or a Jawaharlal Nehru. The country remembers them not because you're building roads and bridges after them.
Mr. Vikram Chandra, a Jawaharlal Nehru or a Rajiv Gandhi never ever built a statue of themselves or named the building after themselves. If somebody later wants to perpetuate their memory, you see, you cannot compare apples and pears.
Sohail.
Vikram, those are two different situations altogether. Tomorrow, out of reverence, if you are no more, I want to build a statue of yours. That's a different matter. But you start building statues of yourself. That's different.
Hang on. I want to ask the audience. The audience who clapped to that. The audience who clapped to that. Did you clap because of the thought that I'm going to be no more, or because of the statue part?
No, 3 girls.
Well, that was metaphorical. That wasn't literal.
We agree with that.
People want to build a statue of yours now.
Vikram, can I just intervene? I was a Nehru fellow. Here was the first Prime Minister building with a huge compound and a house like White House in America. After Nehru's death, that whole house of the Prime Minister was named after Nehru and made a private library with the government resources and like
it's a private library.
But who did it?
Who did it?
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take a break. We're not getting anywhere.
The problem is that the Chief Minister of India is so insecure that she does not think that she's going to leave behind a legacy. That's why she's putting up all these statues all over the place. I don't think that you can even compare the two situations.
Look, there are 5 people talking at the same time. So I'm going to take a break. When we come back after this break, we'll try and see if we're getting any further. Should public money be used for this, for anybody's statue, whether it's Mayawati's or anybody else's? Number 1. Number 2, is there a difference between politicians and leaders who were in the past and who are still alive? And number 3, Where the legality of this? Where's the propriety of this? We'll come back to some of those themes when we return in a few minutes. Welcome back to the Big Fight. We're trying to discuss statues of leaders. Should they be there? Should they not be there? Should they be there for present politicians or for past politicians or for both? And what in particular do we make of Mayawati? Now, I don't want to come back to the question at the start of this section on public money, because I think, Ravikant, that's the basic point you're making.
Yes.
Build as many statues of Mayawati as you want from BSP's own funds or from Mayawati's personal funds.
Yes.
But not from state money. Is that your essential point?
Yes. The problem is that a chief minister who has the moral duty, public trust doctrine, she has the moral duty to protect. She has the moral duty to provide for funds for child labor. She has moral duty to provide funds for Dalit emancipation. She has moral duty for education, for schools, for children who are trafficked, for every day thousands of children working of Uttar Pradesh everywhere. Dalit needs funds. They need schools. They need employment. They need jobs. They don't need statues.
Okay. No, Vikram, the fundamental point is different. You see, the fundamental point is, are there situations...
What you said in the first section.
No. Are there situations where public funds can be used for building commemorative monuments? The answer is yes. Look at the Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty represents the essence of the United States of America. Yeah. It may be a gift. But the fact of the matter is that there are certain visible symbols of a nation which perpetuate its nationhood. So there is a case out there for using public money, but there is no case for using public money to perpetuate a non-existent legacy. That's the distinction you have to make.
But as Kancha Laya said, hang on, as Kancha Laya said, you're also seeing that same commemoration being done in other ways by politicians who are still very much around, in the form of the ads, for example.
Well, let me tell you, what is an advertisement? An advertisement is a contemporaneous way of informing people. What does a statue inform? What does a statue inform? Let me ask you. Here is a full-page advertisement which lists out various things the government does or doesn't do.
So
what does a statue inform? Let me ask you.
Mayawati brings out lots of advertisements also. You don't have a problem with those?
We have no problems as far as those advertisements.
The people of India have problems.
As far as those advertisements.
You have a problem with both the ads and
public money should not be used for
public purpose. You want to put your funds on it,
Manish, thank you.
All right.
Kancha Laya next. One at a time, Kancha Laya.
Can I just cite one example? Just before the election in Andhra Pradesh, at a major public place, Indira Gandhi's huge statue was built by government, and Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, whom I respect, unveiled that statue.
Absolutely.
Right?
Public money or Congress party's money?
Government money.
But she's a former leader. It was a statue of Indira Gandhi, not of Sonia Gandhi. He's saying if it was Sonia Gandhi complained, if it was Indira Gandhi, it's fine.
The point is, if you...
And it wasn't Sonia Gandhi building the statue, it was the Andhra Pradesh government doing it. They are free to commemorate whomsoever they want.
Let me tell you. See, as a Congress party, which has a big history, is making this small issue of Mayawati putting our own statues. Tomorrow, if you get defeated in the election, what will happen to your argument?
Can I just...
No, I don't think this is about winning or losing elections. I think the argument is very
throw one point to you which he made.
Are you so insecure that you do not think that you will have a legacy which will perpetuate itself? That's why you want to do it while you are alive.
All right, Manish. With shouting.
So therefore, work. There will be a legacy at the end of it.
Okay, Manish, Ravi, thank you. I want to ask you a question. The point he made about government money, now, even for the Dalits in Uttar Pradesh, and assuming that what we are really after is their emancipation and their upliftment, isn't it better if the government money was used in other ways, such as education, making sure that every single Dalit child in Uttar Pradesh gets educated? Surely in the long term, that will have a far greater impact on Dalit self-confidence and Dalit self-belief and Dalit emancipation, upliftment, than a million statues.
I'm just asking him whether he would have said the same thing if Mayawati would have not built the statue. This is the same country, these are the same people who never talked about Dalit emancipation. Dalits were only remembered till 80 on 2nd October when the government of India used to bring on Gandhi's Jayanti that Harjan Kalyar se.
See, the constitution of...
No, it's the rise
Will I respect all four of you, so don't interrupt me for the next 2-3 minutes.
Can I interrupt you then?
No.
You're not
Let me develop the thought. The abuse of freedom by the political classes is not new. It happens in various forms. The fact that a minister goes around with 12 cars in a cavalcade is also abuse of public money. So the abuse of public money is not new. I think what this whole statue business has raised is the bigger debate, that for how long will development be given the go-by and how long will we perpetuate legacies in whichever way they do. A. B. This country has a fantastic record of public money for personal gain. Shah Jahan didn't build the Taj Mahal out of his own money. It was built out of the money of the state. We have continued. 1 minute.
Hang on, that wasn't a democracy.
I don't think
Point I'm making is, you are fooling yourself if you think you are living in a democracy which is completely, as he rightly said, on the American model. It is not. We are still living in feudal times, and that's the reality. So you will have a political class which will exert its authority either through statues, which even Christie's won't buy, or will exert its authority, as he rightly said, in advertisements which are silly and debatable.
I think, Sohail, you can't make such a sweeping indictment of the Indian democratic state. After all, 15 elections later, which have been held successfully, people throwing out 3/4 of the representatives each time. That's the greatest tribute to Indian democracy. And this politician bashing, I don't think is on, because politicians are the only people in this country who really subject themselves to a test every 5 years, if not earlier. So therefore, let's not get into a politician bashing trip on this. Yeah.
We'll get back to political bashing in lots of other episodes of the Big Fight. Let's try and keep other focus.
Mayawati is also a politician.
We have no problem with our politics. We have no problem with our politics. We have no problem, Mr. Laya, with our politics. All that we are saying is, let her deliver on governance, and if later somebody wants to commemorate her memory, so be it.
Manish, let me tell. See, the grateful nation always pays homage to their leaders, to the people who fight for this country. If their statues are built out of public money, the grateful nation, father of the nation, prime ministers who have done lot of for the country, even Mayawati, chief minister, if she does lot of work for Dalit emancipation, her statues will also be built out of the funds which we have for culture funds, the funds which we have for the glorification of our history.
But what he's trying to say is that tomorrow, if you leave behind a legacy, there'll be enough people willing to perpetuate it and commemorate it. That's the point he's making. That's a relevant point.
I tell you what, let me just come back to why these particular statues. I think there are two things. One, I think you're correct that people make a lot of fuss, have been making a lot of fuss about Mayawati statues and those elephants, and they don't make a fuss about other similar massive
the Election
wastes of
Commission
public
made
money.
a fuss about the elephants. Nobody else. Because the Election Commission said this is perpetuating an election symbol on the cost of the public exchequer. So therefore, let's make a distinction between the two.
One second. While I agree that people have made an excessive, there's been a lot of noise about this, which perhaps should have also been made in other cases in the past. These also seem to be particularly egregious cases for the simple reason, as he pointed out. Now, it's one, you have 52 elephants out there, or I don't know how many elephants there are.
90
and
elephants
you think
of 52
this
crores.
is actually not the election symbol because the trunk is up and not down.
That's ridiculous.
But the good thing is, at least we have elephants on statues, even if they're disappearing in our wildlife park.
Historically, if Maniji when Congress had two bulls symbol.
Oh God.
Bulls
It wasn't two bulls, it was a cow and a calf.
And cow and calf was also there. Congress earlier had two bulls on with a plow.
Oxen.
Oh, long time back.
Long time back. Then cow came. The point is today BJP is
and the calf had to be there.
BJP is. I don't make.
You're right. I agree with you.
Don't make fun.
He's making a slight allusion to dynastic politics.
You need to give
BJP is putting lotus in various forms.
No, you have to give
it's okay to
facts.
build statues of elephants.
Yeah, the point is...
Elephants are getting poached in every single jungle in Uttar Pradesh.
And 52 crores for statues.
Not a single elephant is being going to be left in the forest.
The simple reason is, the Brahmanic intellectuals have been writing about tigers all the time, but never writing about elephants. Therefore, he is putting elephant statues. That's very good. That's very good. And the point is, let me morally say, morally it is not correct.
Professor, you've got to explain that. Now that, I'm sorry, I have to take...
Hang on. So therefore, if non-Brahminical academics start writing about monkeys, you will build statues of monkeys also. Your argument is because Brahminical scholars have been writing about tigers, therefore you're building statues of elephants. So if non-Brahminical scholars start writing about monkeys, you'll build statues of monkeys.
I have a black Labrador called Google. He's very
Professor.
See, the Brahminical intellectuals themselves created monkeys they worshipped. We did not.
So we created
Professor Kanchalaya,
That's the point.
Can I just get this? With respect, can I get this debate back to some sense, Professor Kanchalaya? I'm sorry, I cannot begin to understand how talking about tigers and not elephants is a symbol of Brahminical culture.
Why are you leaving my Labrador out of the debate?
Yes, the point is, let us have a very serious discussion on this issue.
Yeah.
If building up statues, building up memorials, converting buildings into individuals' names with the national money from the national property is wrong, it is morally, politically wrong.
Okay.
But it cannot be made a legal issue as this lawyer has made. It will
Of
not
course, it
stand.
can be made a legal issue.
That's for the Supreme Court to adjudicate. That is not for you to adjudicate.
Okay, this lawyer
The
answered
Supreme
that
Court has
point.
already issued notice. The Supreme Court has already issued
cannot be a
notice.
legal issue at
It's
all.
violation of Article 14. This is arbitrary use of power.
No,
One of you will need sovereignty.
This is completely arbitrary use of power. This is not a dictatorship, you know.
Correct.
Okay, fine. Now that you've all calmed down a little bit, I think we're going to take a break. I want to get the audience in. Not on the tigers or the elephants question, but on the more
Labrador.
Oh, please keep shut about your Labrador. All right, we're going to take a break right now. When we come back, I'm going to turn to the audience. That's in a couple of minutes. Welcome back to the Big Fight. We are trying to discuss in, well, somewhat civilized fashion, as much as possible anyway, what should be done with all the statues and what should be done to various animals. That we turn now to the audience. First of all, some quick unscientific snap polling. How many people think that it is perfectly all right, forget about the Mayawati statues, in general, if there's a big, major leader, political leader, it's fine to have a statue to that person? After the person dies. Yeah. After the person dies. Only after the person dies. Okay, fine. Let me get some viewpoints.
I'm glad to find my argument validated here.
But how
Thank
many
you very
of
much.
find advertising photographs of ruling prime ministers are
How many
valid?
people think ads of existing politicians are overdone? Raise your hands. Okay.
More.
Choose between the elephant, the tiger, and Sohail's Labrador. Now the gentleman
2 points to make and 2 questions to ask. There's 5,000 crore rupees being spent on the statues and only 72 crore rupees being given to the education of the children. So is that right? Second thing, Mayawati, when came into the power, she said that there will be no billboards of any advertisement as such on the chaurahas, basically. And if you see in Lucknow, if you see in Noida area, you'll find maximum advertisements of Mayawati being put up on the chaurahas itself.
We have with us Mr. Arya here, Mr. Anand Arya, who's one of the petitioners in this entire case. Yeah. I know that you have other concerns also, not just what it means from public exchequer and the issues that we've been raising.
My fight is essentially for the location of this particular project of these statues and the elephants and the whatever leaders, because they have still not been unveiled. So I don't know who exactly are the leaders unveiled there. Would be there.
Fine.
Now, right next to it is the Okhla Bird Park. It is a protected area. It is, I think, a kind of a boon for any major city in the world. Delhi, Noida are the only cities which can see more than 400 species of birds.
Okay, so you're saying it's an environment impact
It's
of this
a
park?
very serious issue on the environment. Besides the environment, there are issues like power. Let's say, I'm sure there are about more than half the people here are from Noida. Now, how much did they suffer this summer? For 685 crores, I could have put up a power plant for 200 megawatts, which would have taken care of all the requirements of power of the Noida.
Fine.
Next, the same 600... Let me just... This 685 crores could also have been spent on at least 600 villages around Noida, where there is no sanitation, which I see every day when I go chasing birds.
Okay.
I see people, I mean, the women still carrying the water on their heads. Why can't we provide them drinking
fine.
water?
The use of funds,
I
sir,
don't
is the
care a
point.
damn for a statue.
When there is a project put up, the environment should be looked at, the question of expenditure should be looked at. But this should not confine to mere UP, where Mayawati alone is there. It should be discussed in the context of the whole nation.
Okay, fine. I think that's a
And then
valid
the whole
point which
nation
everyone's agreed
is,
to.
the whole nation is suffering
Professor,
because
let
of
me
lack
respond
of
to this.
environmental
This is a
concern.
national
Unfortunately, he
malaise.
lives in Noida and
This
not in
is
the
a
whole
national
nation.
No, but
problem.
he should not be concerned only about Noida. Then
No, I'm not
concerned
concerned.
about all
Because
the country.
that is where the project is coming.
Global.
Okay.
Why you? Why you?
Professor Kanchala,
One more, couple more voices from the audience. The gentleman here.
I would ask the question, if Mayawati wants to put a image, better image in front of the public by putting statues, why doesn't she spend the same amount in developing the poor peoples and the slum dwellings? Because she would be remembered better by her point.
Lady here.
First you get food in your house, then you decorate it. So I think first we need to develop our country. I mean, as in the poor section, it's still not educated or something. Then we'll get statues to look at it.
Okay, fair enough. The lady here.
I believe that even the war soldiers are not felicitated by statues. They are given war memorials where their names are, that's how they are recognized. That's how respect, homage is given to
Vikram
them.
Batra's sister actually sitting in exactly the same place as you were a couple of weeks back, talking about the fact that the statue for Vikram Batra was not being looked after.
We have failed to choose the right leader for the right job.
Now let's not go down that route. It's a long story. We'll come into that in another big fight. The gentleman there.
Mayawati is a symbol of UP, not of Dalit. So instead of spending money on statues, see the law and order situation of Noida. It's the NS #1 criminal area in NCR, Noida. So it's better you should utilize money for the protection of.
Okay, fine. The gentleman here. That's the last comment.
I've seen some of the honorable people are defending Mayawati, First of all, I would like to correct them. They cannot consider Mayawati with the honorable Ambedkar. She is nowhere standing near to their stature, Ambedkar has done a lot for the country, whereas Mayawati has done nothing. She is a leader for herself.
How could such amount of funds be sanctioned in the first place when the country is reeling under recession? I mean, look at priorities here.
All right, fine. Now, I want to get final comments from all of our panelists. I'm going to start with you, Anu. Final comments.
I think this whole debate about the whole criticism is very, very prejudiced. In a manner that this is the same country where when the day Ambedkar died, next day a newspaper daily is writing that, given his scholarship, he would have been a great leader if he was not filled of hatred towards the upper caste people. And the gentleman sitting here...
That was a long time back, wasn't it? About 50 years ago.
This is a perspective I am talking about. This is the way people are thinking. It is, even after 60 years or 50 years, the people are, just one more example I will give, that there was a case of Marathwada University in 1970s. The only government wanted was to put Ambedkar's name in that university, Ambedkar Marathwada University.
Government.
And there was a huge riots.
Correct.
Dozens of Dalits were killed.
But I don't think anybody is defending...
No, that is why I am saying that public money, fine. Environment, sir, very fine. You fight it out. And if it is proved that it is environment, it's not friendly, I will support you. But the whole debate should be put in a perspective. This is the country which is guilty of, of throwing the Dalit memories into dustbin.
Okay, fine. Ravikant.
See, the Constitution of India has earmarked a lot of things for Dalits. As a chief minister, her moral duty is to work for everyone, also for the emancipation of Dalits. Funds should be sanctioned for Dalits, no problems on that. But she really needs to work for the development of Uttar Pradesh.
Okay, Manish Tiwari, final thoughts.
Well, essentially, the issue is a fundamental insecurity. You have a person in power in Lucknow who does not think that she has a legacy which anybody would perpetuate. So therefore, that fundamental insecurity impels her to try and perpetuate herself through statutes while she is there. So that is the fundamental issue.
Okay, Kanchalaya.
If we were to bring from Noida people from slums and ask their opinion about the statues, it would have been entirely different from what it is here.
That's a fair point, actually. I grant you.
Right? Illiterate people, Dalits were to come. These students just don't like Mayawati, therefore they are saying what they are saying.
No. This is a wrong statement. This is completely wrong statement. We do love Ambedkar. We do have respect.
No, I want to see Vikram. I have been coming here. Don't interrupt. I've been coming here. I want to have a debate with total illiterate people sitting here and taking oath about a person like Mayawati's administration.
But don't you think about jobs? They will make employment. Professor, don't you think it's a responsibility of the state to emancipate and educate people?
No, yes.
You still want to have a debate with illiterate people? That just shows your priorities. That just shows your priorities.
Why not?
Okay.
Why not?
Okay, fine.
No.
Professor, final comment here.
Let me just. The point is that spending money in a democracy on any statute is a waste. Whether it was a legacy, whether it was somebody's, statue who was who lived yesterday, because that came out of the fact that this country was kept illiterate. Only illiterate countries need statues.
That's why you want to have a debate with illiterate people.
We need books, we need colleges, we need English medium schools across the country, and let Congress government establish English medium schools for all the children in the country, residential schools. Mayawati's
but you would agree that would be a better...
That's why we have
I agree with you,
bill for
Professor.
free and compulsory education. That is why we passed the bill for free and compulsory education, because we want to educate everybody.
Okay, fine. I'm afraid we are flat out of time. This is the final words now on the show. Suhail, final thoughts. 30 seconds.
Don't expect Mayawati to be more moral than the other immoral people who are in politics. The issue is not about Mayawati, it's not about statues.
Yeah.
It's about the debasement of the political classes and how sometimes priorities which stare you in the face are not worthy of implementation. Instead, you want to encourage your own personal limits. That is the shamelessness of India today.
As usual, the indictment has been sweeping, but unfortunately, it needs to be debated and upheld.
Correct.
So we will come back. We will come back and debate this issue further. All politicians in general, are our national priorities correct? I think that would make a good subject on the Big Fight one of these days. Unfortunately, this is all that we have time for right now. Thank you all so much for having joined us. That was the Big Fight. Do join us again next time.
Hey, don't forget my hat.